8th chapter of the book of Isaiah, the book of Yeshayah. We talked yesterday about how, I shouldn't say yesterday, about 5 minutes ago, in the chapter, how Yeshayah was warning the king or trying to tell Ahaz, the king of Israel, to rely upon God, not to rely upon other nations to protect him. And he continues with more attempts of trying to say the same thing. Vayomer Adonai Elai, so God says, go, get yourself a large sheet and write on it, Maher Shalal Chashbaz. Now, what does that mean, Maher Shalal Chashbaz? It means soon you will get the loot. That's what it means. Maher, fast, the Shalal, the loot will come. And call reliable witnesses, the priest Uriah and Zechariah, the son, they're going to be witnesses for what's going to happen. And what's going to happen is you have to be intimate with the Nivi'ah. Nivi'ah here probably does not mean a different prophetess. It probably means Yeshayah, your wife. And you're going to, right, you guys will be intimate. These two witnesses will see like a yichud room. I was witness at a wedding last night, 8 yichud, right? They're going to be the Adam outside. And I'm going to tell you that you have to name him what I said, Mahar Shalal Chashbaz, right? Soon you're going to get the loot, right? You're so worried of being, this is going to be a sign and a symbol of what's going to happen. Why? Because by the time the baby learns to say mother, father, right, not a very long time, what's going to happen? The wealth of Damascus, the spoils of Samaria, the delights of their king of Rezin, and also of the king of Israel, the northern kingdom, the son of Ramalyahu, will be carried off before the king of Assyria. The king of Assyria will defeat them. And God spoke to me further. Because the people spurn the gentle flowing waters, right? V'lachein hinei Adonai ma'aleh aleim et mei hanar atzumim v'rabim et melech Ashur ve'et kol kvodo v'ala al kol afikav v'alach al kol gedotav. What's going to happen is the great water, the great river, the massive water, the king of Assyria and all his people will come, and they're going to rise over everything, right? It sounds like it's good at first. You want the Assyrians to come, but they are a tsunami. They are a major flood. They're going to eventually cover everything. And it's going to be like a flash flood over Yehuda, reaching up to its neck. But God is with us. God's wings will be spread, and your land will be able to survive it. Right, Israel, Yerushalayim is going to be saved from the Assyrians. We read about it already. At this point in this book, it's in the future. We read about it during the time of Chizkiyahu, right? And again, he repeats the word that he said in the last pasuk, in the last chapter, Immanuel. Right, in the last chapter, we're told the sign that God is with them, and they're going to defeat the Arameans, and they're going to defeat the northern kingdom, because you're going to have a son. You're going to name him Immanuel. God is still with us. And one thing to think about that, coming back to the book of Kings, one of the big things we talked about in the book of Kings was who's keeping Bnei Israel alive. Going back to King King Shlomo, when the two prostitutes come in front of Shlomo, and Shlomo says, I'll cut the baby in half. I'm going to cut Israel. And he doesn't. He keeps the baby alive. And we talked about who else keeps the baby alive? Elisha, Eliyahu, some of the greater kings, right? Literally Elisha and Eliyahu with their bringing kids back to life. Who's the one that's providing the future here? Again, it's not the king, it's Yeshayah. Yeshayah is having the next generation. He's having the child with his wife. He's having Immanuel. He's having Maher Shalal Chashbaz. His child is Sha'ar Yashuv. These words that all have symbolic meaning. There'll be a remnant that will made. God is with us. Soon we will get the loot. It's not going to, these enemies are not going to be there for long. So Yeshayah is following, in a sense, in those ways, not in the same miraculous ways as Elisha and Eliyahu did it, but keeping the baby alive to the next generation. Continuing in verse 9. Ro'u amim v'chatu v'azinu kol merchekei aretz itazru v'chatu itazru v'chatu. It says, band together peoples. right? Listen from all the far parts of the earth and get yourself ready because you are going to be broken. Utsu eitza v'tufar, dabru davar v'lo yakum ki Immanuel. You might have a plot. You're going to come. You're going to attack Israel. You think it's all going to be fine. You're going to get rid of Israel. It won't succeed. Why? Again, ki Immanuel, because God is with us, right? All you nations, you want to attack the Yehuda, you want to attack the dynasty of David. You think you're going to destroy them. It's not going to happen. Because God said to me, but when he took me by the hand and told me not to walk in the path of those people, lo tomrun kesher l'chol asher yomara amaz kesher, vetmorao lo tiro v'lo taritzu. Don't think there's going to be conspiracy. Don't listen to what the people are saying. Et Adonai tzvot oto takdishu. Who do you want? How do you want to survive? These enemies are attacking you with God. V'hu morachem, v'hu ma'artzachem. God alone. Give reverence to God. Hold God in awe. Right? Again, similar message to the last chapter. Don't trust the Assyrians. Don't trust the Egyptians. Don't bring in foreigners. Don't bring in mercenaries. You want to survive? Hashem tzvaot. It's right. What's with God? Tzava means the army. God is the Lord of hosts. Vayal mikdash u'le'even negef u'lutzur michshol l'shtei shnei batei Yisrael le'pachul u'mokesh le'oshev Yerushalayim. God will become a sanctuary, a stone people strike against, a rock people stumbles over for the houses of Israel, and trap and snare for those who dwell in Jerusalem. And the masses will trip over and they'll fall and they'll be injured and they'll be snared and they'll be caught, because God is the only one that you can rely upon. The others you can't, and if you rely upon them, eventually it's not going to end up well for you either. Continuing in verse 16, Pasuk Tet Zayin, Sur Teuda Chatom Torah Bilimudai. So bind up this message, seal the instruction with my students, right? Torah, 5 books of Moses, the Torah, the Chumash, Torah. Generally, there are a number of different explanations to what it means. We've had it use that word a couple of times, but mostly it means instruction, like a moreh is a teacher, comes from the same root. And so I will wait for God, whose face is hidden from the house of Jacob. In God I will trust. That's who I trust, is what Yeshayah is saying. I stand here, I trust in God, he said, with the children that God has given me as signs, right? We mentioned them again, Immanuel, one of their names, God is with us. The child Maher Shalal Hashbaz, who apparently there's some rapper or something who was named after him, current rapper or hip hop artist. Actually, I was watching there's a documentary on Netflix about chimpanzees. I was watching it the other night, and the person who was named, I think he's changed his name slightly, but the person who was named is like, I think he's a rapper or something. Maher Shalal Hashbaz is the narrator. I think he converted to Islam. I think he was Christian. I think he changed his last name to Ali. So if you have Netflix and you look up, there's this new chimpanzee documentary. Look for who right at the front, the narrator, and you'll see this. You'll see basically this same name. The other son, Shar Yashuv, the remnant will remain. Right, all these signs that come from God who dwells on Mount Zion, on Har Zion. This means our future. We will remain alive. But if people say to you, one of the main messages Yeshayah brings up, along with the idea that we know over and over again about social justice, about not taking care, not taking advantage of the poor, of the weak, is don't worship idols. Don't inquire of ghosts. Don't try to find the right. Don't look for astrological signs or try to talk to the dead or all of these different things. Don't do that. Who do you have to inquire? You want to know? You have to go ask God. Don't ask them for instruction. Don't ask them for a message, because what they say, there will not be, I said shochar, I read the word, there will not be shachar. There will not be dawn. There will not be light, right? The idea is we're in darkness now is what he's saying. And if you ask the messages to these different idolatrous methods, ghosts and dead people and mediums and whatever else, you're going to remain in darkness. You will not see shachar, right? Shachar. You will not see the light of the morning. and you'll go about, and it will be terrible, and you'll be hungry, and then you'll revolt against your king and their divine beings, right? Because the king is idolatrous. And you'll look down and you'll see distress and darkness, no daybreak, right? Just gloom, no dawn. Again, you're being attacked by enemies. And if you turn towards ghosts and all sorts of different astrological, right, magic, hartumim, like they were called in Egypt, Pharaoh's sorcerers, for advice, for questions as to how to get out of the situation, you're going to remain in darkness. Kilo mu'af la'asher mutzakla ka'et harishon, heikal arza zvulun ve'arza naftali v'ha'acharon hichbid derech hayam ever hayarden galil hagoyim. Because if there is going to be a break of the day, right, only the former kings, the kings who brought destruction to the land of Zvulun and the land of Naphtali, only then will you be able to, right? Only then will you be able to come and to be victorious, right? It's just going to be darkness. Darkness will not come over Jerusalem if you trust in God, right? The enemy will not be able to take you over, but if you, right, if you don't listen, then you're going to be destroyed. And what this refers to in part is when the king of Assyria came for the first time, he took districts, he took places from Zvulun and Naphtali. And so this was saying at first he came to Zvulun and Naphtali, but then, as it was said earlier, the king of Assyria is going to be, the Assyrian army is going to be like a flood that's going to overturn the entire country. So you have to do is trust in God. God is the one to protect you. You may invite the Assyrians; they may help you at a time, but eventually it's going to cause destruction, it's cause death to not only them but to our people as well. This is the warning of Yeshayah, and as I said a number of times over the last couple of chapters, it's part of this theme of Yeshayah: trust in God. You want trust; that's who you have to trust in, and we know this story because we know it from Chizkiyahu, who is going to be in a later generation. Chizkiyahu was the one who finally got the full threat from the Assyrians when Sancheiriv had a siege around Jerusalem, and Chizkiyahu trusted in God, and davened to God. And we know that then Yeshayah came to him and said, the Assyrians will leave tonight, and in this miraculous way they'll leave. And we'll see that as well in about 30 chapters from now. We will repeat some of the chapters that we read with some of those stories in the book of Melachim, books that talk about trust in God. And don't rely upon Egypt, don't rely upon Assyria, because they will be there 1 second, but the next second they will be gone, or they will turn into your enemies instead.